The war in Ukraine is a testing ground for drone warfare, and it's changing conflict as we know it. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Drones are being used for a lot of things these days, from light shows to fertilizing crops to chopping vegetables. Kids, don't try that at home. Try it at school so all your friends can join in. But drones are getting the most attention right now for their role in the Ukraine war. They're playing a role in Russia's invasion as well as Ukraine's resistance.
Beneath the roar of missile strikes and artillery blasts, evidence of another deadly threat has appeared. So-called loitering munitions, or kamikaze drones, brought by the Russians to hit hard behind Ukrainian lines. But as the battle has raged, military analysts say the Ukrainians, who have such drones too, have turned the tables on the Russians, using them to much more deadly effect.
Man, robots are even taking the jobs of suicide bombers. That's what really defeated ISIS, automation. Andrew Yang tried to warn us. It makes sense that both sides would lean heavily on drones. They're small, so they make harder targets. They can be used for reconnaissance or as weapons. And unlike a plane, they don't have a pilot who can be killed. The US and UK are sending them to Ukraine as part of their military aid, which makes one of the first times that a foreign nation was happy to see US drones flying towards them. Last month, the U.S. sent Ukraine Switchblade drones as part of an $800 million package.
This is about the size of a toy drone I bought my 12-year-old a few years ago.
The Switchblade can be carried into battle in a backpack and launched miles away from a threat. At about $6,000 each, the Switchblade costs a fraction of the $150,000 Hellfire missiles fired from larger military drones.
The Switchblade, for when you want to murder someone on a budget. Don't let the small size and cost fool you, though. These drones can fly for up to 40 minutes and use GPS to track down their targets. The lighter ones have the strike power of a Claymore mine, and the bigger ones the power of a Javelin anti-tank missile. The U.S. sent Ukraine 100 of these Switchblade systems. Each system carries about 10 drones, so that means around 1,000 total. And just last week, the U.S. said it's sending 120 similar drones called the Phoenix Ghost. And no, Phoenix Ghost isn't a new energy drink flavor or Axe body spray scent. But it should be an Axe body spray flavored energy drink. Phoenix Ghost is a new type of drone that has yet to be tested in battle. The Pentagon has been tight-lipped about its capabilities, but says it's similar to the Switchblade. Both are what are called kamikaze or suicide drones. That's because instead of carrying a weapon, they are the weapon. Once they track down their target, they hit it, exploding in the process. Militaries around the world have their eyes on Ukraine, especially the US and NATO allies. So while most view this war as a humanitarian crisis, weapons manufacturers see it as a showcase, like their Tony Stark, minus the charisma and geometrically perfect goatee. They're looking to see how smaller and cheaper weapons fare against advanced militaries like Russia in the 21st century. And I'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. Both Ukraine and Russia are using drones in their fight for Ukrainian territory. And while drones have been used in battle for decades, this war could give us a better picture of what drone warfare in the 21st century could look like. So, robot versus robot. I didn't think the future of war would look like rock'em sock'em robots. One of the advantages of drones is that they're relatively low tech, so civilians can operate them. People fly them as a hobby. So when Ukraine needed drones and operators, it knew who to call. 38-year-old suburban dads. That's a joke, but it's also true. Ukraine knew early on that it needed a lot of eyes in the air to track Russian movements. Russia knew this too, which is why both sides are using commercial, off-the-shelf drones for surveillance and intelligence gathering. But Ukraine is the one really taking the spotlight when it comes to drones. It's proving what effective civil-military cooperation on drone warfare might look like. For example, you've probably heard about that 40-mile Russian convoy of tanks heading to Kiev. It was widely reported that it stalled because it ran low on supplies. What's not as well known, though, is that those supply failures were linked to a series of drone attacks. A Ukrainian commander said it was a series of night ambushes carried out by a team of 30 Ukrainian special forces and drone operators on quad bikes that targeted key vehicles. These guys started out as volunteer IT specialists and hobbyists in 2014. That was during the Euromaidan, a protest against Ukraine's leader moving the country closer to Russia. And they're now an elite drone unit within the Ukrainian military. The group claims it also helped defeat a Russian attack on the Hostomel airport. Another possible example of Ukraine's drone warfare is the sinking of the Moskva. That was Russia's most powerful warship in the Black Sea. It was packed with sensors, radio jammers, and radar-guided cannons, yet it was destroyed by just 2 Neptune missiles. Now, these missiles should have been detected and shot down before reaching the ship. That's because they're slower than the speed of sound, which is slow for an anti-ship weapon. Sometimes simple weapons are the most effective. I learned that years ago watching an alien invasion get thwarted by a board with a nail in it on The Simpsons. The reason the missiles succeeded could be because of the Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones. A Ukrainian colonel said they flew the drones near the Moskva right before the missile strikes. He thinks this distracted the crew and allowed them to collect valuable intelligence. The drone's intel could have guided the missiles, allowing them to turn off their radar while approaching. According to a former French fighter pilot, the missile's radars may have been turned on for only the last 2 minutes or so of a flight, making them hard to detect. By the time the Russians saw what was coming, it was too late. While the Moskva was an expensive asset to lose, the weapons that took it down were not. The Bayraktar reportedly costs anywhere from $1 to $10 million. That's a lot cheaper than the tens of millions of dollars for larger drones like the American MQ-9 Reaper. Drones have also proven to be powerful psychological weapons. Despite only having around 20 drones at the start of the invasion, they've been a powerful weapon for Ukraine in swaying public opinion and boosting morale. The Turkish drones have been so successful that they've become a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. That would be a way cooler thing to change your profile picture to in order to show support for Ukraine. Why show a flag when you can display a drone? Ukrainians have created songs about the drone. And named this police puppy after it. Footage from the Bayraktar and other drones have boosted morale on social media. It gives the perception that Ukrainians are the ones dominating the battlefield, even if they still have a big uphill battle. Footage from them also helps expose Russian atrocities in Ukraine, and this helps get aid from the international community. According to a senior fellow at the Center of Naval Analysis, the Ukrainian drone's success isn't just the ability to target the Russian military, it's a public relations victory as well. But given that drones like the Bayraktar are slow and relatively easy targets, many experts are wondering why Russia hasn't been more effective at taking them out. And I'll get into that after this final commercial break. Welcome back. A lot of people are surprised at just how poorly Russians have been at fighting against Ukrainian drones. Like I said, they're slow, easy targets. What? Are Russians really bad at Space Invaders or something? If only drone warfare was more like Tetris. The Bayraktar TB2 drones have been successfully used against Russian anti-aircraft systems in other countries. But according to a drone expert at the Council on Foreign Relations, even with the drone's record of success, everyone expected that once they really faced the full gamut of Russian defenses, they would stand no chance. She said their survival and continued use is really raising questions about the Russians' capabilities. You know what else is raising questions about the Russians' capabilities? This entire war. In 2014, Russia said it had amassed some 500 drones and had plans to buy more. Before this year's invasion, they were even seen testing new swarm drones and unmanned autonomous weapons. But there's not much evidence that they've used them against Ukraine. One explanation is that Russia's military forces are too disconnected to mount a meaningful air defense. Another is that Russia just didn't want to risk bringing in their best weapons and possibly losing them. Or it could be that Ukraine has much better counter-drone capabilities than Russia. When Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, Russian drones helped hunt down and attack Ukrainian forces. They had the edge against Ukraine back then, but it seems not anymore. Sanctions imposed after the 2014 invasion of Crimea blocked the Russian military from procuring some key technologies necessary to stay on the cutting edge of drone development. They aren't up to date with the latest drone technology? That's crazy, because they can just watch YouTube channels for that. Seriously, YouTube is the only social media still available in Russia. Maybe because Putin can't get enough of America Uncovered. Hey, Putin, if you're watching this, knock it off, you jerk. Ukrainians, meanwhile, have access to NATO countries' more advanced technology. We don't know what systems they're using, but so far they seem to be more effective at taking down Russian drones than vice versa. There are signs that Russia is actually using surface-to-air missiles to take down Ukrainian drones. If true, this could be because their counter-drone systems aren't good enough. This doesn't mean Russia has been entirely ineffective, though. Russia's kamikaze drone in Ukraine is raising fears about drones using artificial intelligence. In some cases, the drones are equipped with AI software that lets them hunt for particular kinds of targets based on images that have been fed into their onboard systems. Many human rights activists warn the use of AI-powered drones will help create killer robots, weapons controlled by AI that can kill without human decision makers. And besides human rights activists, this same warning is being given from anyone who's ever watched a single sci-fi movie. Do you want Terminators, Russia? Because this is how you get Terminators. But all this shows how the war in Ukraine is the perfect testing ground for drones and robots in battles against advanced militaries. Who knows what may come out of it? But I, for one, welcome our Terminator overlords. So what do you think? What will the future of war look like? Let us know in the comments below. And we could not make this show without the support of viewers like you. You can help us keep the show going by supporting us on Patreon or Locals. The links to both are in the description below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.